Good morning to all the sports fans with Gaja TV. We are coming to you live from Papiliana. We have a very special guest for a very important tailor-made program, which Gaja TV will introduce you. This is the first episode that we are bringing to you live from this beautiful place. So we have a very humble guest with us. So first we will introduce our episode. So Gaja TV is bringing you this particular program for all the enthusiasts of the industry who has become giants. So the program we called as the Big Boss. So with this program we are bringing to you all the details of the people who has taken their lives into extremes. So today for the program we have Mr. Themiya Udalagama. So we have today our guest speaker as Mr. Themiya. We warmly welcome you to the show.
Thank you.
Right. So today we'll be discussing about the factors that what has become major impacts for the industry, and the same time we'll be considering about first things that the people have to know what Themiya Udalagama is. So can you brief about yourself?
Yeah, I actually was born in Kandy and I studied in Kandy at Trinity College. Then I did my O-levels and then after that I was doing my A-levels, but before I could sit for the exam, I managed to join Ceylon Tobacco Company because at that time they had special programs, you know, like special engineering programs which was like 4 years, and I managed to get into that, and then I did the course. That means it's an engineering course, everything, you know, just like in a university. We did the course, but of course the difference is you get hands-on experience. You get to do everything. I mean, like if you are on repairing machines, turning out spare parts, because those days spare parts were very scarce in Sri Lanka because imports were restricted. This is, I'm talking around 1969, 70. Yeah, 69, 70. And then after I finished my 4-year course, I worked at Ceylon Tobacco for another 9 years, till 79 actually, 10 years. Then while I was at tobacco, I came across, we bought a compressor, Ingersoll, a product brand name was Ingersoll Rand, and there was a foreign American guy who had come to Sri Lanka to set up a distributorship for their product. And I met him through tobacco because when we bought that compressor, I was involved in the installation and he came as the supplier and we got talking, and then that's how I got the Ingersoll Rand agency. At that time, I couldn't start it on my own, so he was looking for a person, and I managed to talk to one of our engineers who were at tobacco and who had left by that time, and he had a small workshop and a small company, so the agency went there, and I also went there, and another batchmate of mine who was also with me at tobacco, he also went there. We worked there for 5 years, but the American guy trained us on everything, me on service side and my friend on the sales side. And then what happened is he was not happy with what the outcome was. Then he said, why don't both of you all get together and take this agency and then, you know, sort of do it, because since you know the product. So then in 1985, both of us got together and we did that. And then up until 2002, we were doing it together. But in 2002, we decided that he takes a part of the machinery products and I take part of the products, and then from 2002 I started doing it under this name TJ Enterprises Private Limited, and from that day onwards up to now we have been doing it. So I'm the chairman now and I have about 61 or 62 employees, and we have installed base of machinery, over 2,000 machines running in this country, and all the major companies are using it. So that's is about myself.
Yeah. So you mentioned about vocationally that you have been implanted in the training of the previous companies.
Yes.
So before that, I will come to that point. So just where did you find out the engineering background to be involved with you? Whether it is from the school or you had a family background?
Because from me, I always, when I was younger, I was interested in sports, but more than sports, I was interested in mechanical things. I used to, remove my father's car and repair and all that. So I thought that was the field for me. And then when I saw the opportunity to join Ceylon Tobacco as an apprentice, I joined that company. And then from that day onwards, I think, I don't know, it's something which is in me. I always, even now, even though I'm the chairman, when I go to the workshop, if I see somebody doing something, I always ready to get my fingers dirty.
So you're always willing to do the mechanical
Yeah.
parts to break and like things
Yeah,
how
remove
it
and
make.
assemble.
Yeah. So like basically now from after school, what did you follow for like now you are at CTZ that you have got the internship program there.
Yeah.
So before that, what was the background? What led you to come to the
Yeah,
internship?
anyway, I was doing science and I was trying to do engineering or something if I can. So after O-levels, after sitting for the O-levels and getting my results, my basic idea was to do some engineering. And during that time, in the early 70s, there were a lot of institutions like the Hardy Institution and all that for vocational training and for training like that. But then since I got tobacco, I thought, okay, it's a company, and then maybe, because those institutions, if you join, once you qualified, you have to again start looking for a job. No. But here I thought if I start here, at least once I finish the course, that they will absorb me into the organization. And that's what happened.
Right now, what sort of equipments and machinery that you are being the service partner for?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people don't know about compressed air because, to tell you the truth, there's no university that is teaching about compressed air. They are teaching about electrical, they are teaching about hydraulics, they are teaching about every other thing that is there, but nobody actually, there is no subject as
Particular subject. Yes.
subject. So, but in this world, compressed air is actually utility. It's the fourth utility, that is electricity, water, gas, and compressed air. The industry cannot run without compressed air. If you take any industry, let's say like making a plastic glass bottle, you need compressed air because you need to blow air to form the bottle.
Glass.
Then you say glass manufacturing, anything like a glass or a bottle, anything. Then if you take the garment industry, sewing machines, at least 25% of the sewing machines now use compressed air for the operation of their machinery, because then spinning and weaving, if you take any industry, for a simple industry, you go, even for your car you need compressed air. So it's like a utility, it's something which everybody, every industry or anything needs, but nobody, in the sense, nobody is actually focusing on it. And also the biggest problem we see is nobody thinks that it's a cost. Now if you put a light, you know you have to pay a bill, but if you have a compressed air system somewhere and if you see an air leak, nobody takes any notice of it because it doesn't, if it was a hydraulic thing and if there was a leak, oil would have been leaking, so they'll repair it. If there's an air leak, it's just leaking into the atmosphere, nobody takes any notice. But the thing is, they don't know that it costs money to make that compressed air.
Right. So we are with Mr. Themiya Udalagama. We are discussing about how this TJ Enterprises was born and what was his background, the engineering background, what made him to this particular position. So we'll be coming to you back again after a short break. So stay tuned to us with Gaja TV. We are back again with Mr. Themiya Udalagama. We'll be discussing about his career and the goals that he has been taken. So, the particular path that you were discussing, it must not be in a smooth path what you have come from the
No,
start to this position.
it was a very difficult part. I can remember when both of us decided to go on our own, that is in 1985. Actually, we didn't have any money. And, forming a company and all that needed a lot. And especially, our principals were willing to help us. So they said, okay, we'll transfer some funds to you in advance as a loan. Give me a bank account. You won't believe, I went to all the banks at that time, and everybody insisted you need to put a minimum of 10,000 rupees to open a bank account. And we didn't have that kind of money because at that time in 85, 10,000 rupees was a big amount. It's like 10 million today. So anyway, we managed to do something and all that, and that's how we started. Then we had to find our own place, and I actually didn't have people. I just had one helper, and most of the installations and commissioning, once you sell the equipment, you have to go and come. Then you have to almost all of those things for about 3-4 years. I had to do it personally myself. And then that's how I came up, and then little by little we built up, we managed to this thing. But fortunately we had a big advantage because at that time compressed air was just sort of being used in the industry. It had just come up. And there was no one else in Sri Lanka other than another one competitor who was selling this product. Most of the time I find now, when you take a product, it's the salespeople who get the prominence, right? But in my case, since I was a service guy and a service engineer, I said no. What we need to do is we need to strengthen our service side, not the sales side, because these are engineered products. No? So you sell something to the customer. Okay, customer will pay the money and buy it. But once you installed it, he needs to run it 24 hours a day without a stop. So if you don't have people, if something happens and if you don't have people to put it right, then the customer is not going to be happy and then he's not going to buy the next one. So we had less, even now we have only a few sales people, but we have only 3 sales guys. But I have more than 30 technicians and service guys, because once the customer is happy with you and he goes around saying, okay, these are the best people, don't buy from them. So we sell more through the after sales than sales.
So basically that what you are telling is like rather than a sales guy deliver the product, the engineer or the technician can deliver more about the truth about the product.
About the product, yeah. And also at that time, this thing we had is we managed to build, especially myself, I managed to build a lot of trust in my customers, because I used to always find out, go to the customer, just because he says I need this, I don't sell it. I go, I talk to him, I find out what is industry, and I also try to figure out whether that's the right thing for him to buy. If I feel it's not, I tell him, look, this is not what you want. You should buy, this machine is too big, don't buy this, you'll have these problems, buy a smaller one. Or if it is small, I said, it's small, you have to buy a bigger one.
Now basically you have all this background and you have created and you have come to this position. What do you think, what is lacking in the system now?
Actually, the biggest problem we are seeing is, all these people, the younger generations. The younger generations are, even if they have in their blood to do this kind of work, engineering or anything, masonry or technical kind of thing, there are no opportunities in this country now for them to go and get themselves properly trained. And also, the latest thing is they are looking for easy money. That's not the way. Actually now for me, even for me to get a tradesman like an electrician or a mechanic or a technician, it's very difficult.
It's hard to find people.
Very hard to find people. And even if they go to the university, qualify, the first thing they try to do is to go abroad. So that's another big issue we are having, because this country and the people and the companies here don't actually recognize and know the value of our technical people.
So, if you express about like what the exposure that you had, you mentioned about the technical colleges you had. So, do you think implementing more technical colleges would impact on the now? Just think, after O levels, after A levels, there is set of students who are going to be leftovers.
Yes.
So, what do you suggest for the system for these leftovers to how to take into track?
Yeah, it's like this, San, because now if you look at those students, now they are sort of not sure what they want to do, right? So somebody have to go, especially between the O levels and A levels, go to the schools, get the principals or somebody to identify, because they are the people who, the teachers, to identify what their actual inner talent is. Because everybody is born with a talent, right? Just because the father or the parents want, you can't become a doctor if you are not, if it is not in your blood. If you like to do engineering, or if you do like to become a painter or anything, so I don't know. My personal opinion is somebody, or the institutions or the governments or the companies, should approach the schools and find out who are the people who don't want to do higher studies and who wants to do some kind of a career out of their life. And then they have to explain to the children and tell them, look, if you do this, this is what's going to happen, because otherwise they just don't know what to do. Because for a simple example, when I was out of school, during that time, all the estates, the plantations and everything was owned by the British, right? And it was being managed by companies, Sri Lankan companies, in the early 70s, 69, 70s, right? I was at Trinity College, and then there are a lot of companies who come to the school, talk to the children, and then say, look, if you are not doing higher studies, come, we'll do a training, you can become a planter. In fact, I was approached by so many companies, but my interest was not that. So even now, if there is some organization, or I don't know, it is private or government, whatever it is, if they can, educate the children and say, look, rather than just leaving school and just finding something, why don't you do something like this? Because if you study this and become a craftsman or a tradesman, you're going to be recognized.
Right. So, like as you mentioned, like a lot of the younger generation is towards to leave the country. So, what's your message for them? What do you suggest for them rather than leaving the country? Now, there's a big economic crisis going on in the country. But with that, what do you suggest? How to strengthen? Now, younger generation can impact on to strengthen the economy.
Yeah.
What do you suggest for them?
No, my suggestion is they shouldn't think that, run away from the situation. They should stay here, fight, and get their rights, and someone or other try to build up this country. Because I'll give you a good example. There were 6 of us when I joined tobacco. 6 special engineers, right? Out of the 6, 4 of them left. 1 to Canada, 1 to US. I don't know, I lost contact, but I know the 2 guys who stayed behind, we are doing much better, who went abroad, because they did a job, they earned some money, and they are still there, and they are still paying their mortgages. But in my case now, I have enterprise like this, and even my other partner who stayed back, he is also like this. So there are opportunities, but you have to work hard and try to get the opportunity. Because there is nowhere, I have travelled all over the world, there is nowhere in this world like Sri Lanka. That I have to say. If you know how to make yourself useful here.
Right. So we are with Themiya Udalagama, and we'll be discussing about the futuristic ideas, what we can implement, and the guidance for the youth, what we can give with this. So we'll be having a short break, and we'll be coming to you back again with a different perspective. We are going to do some practicals, and we'll be coming to you back after a short break. You're back again with the Gaja TV, the Big Boss talk show, and as we promised, that we'll be bringing to you that TJ Enterprises has promised us that they will be showing us how the maintenance work of this equipment, this air compression machine, would be conducting. So for that, we have Mr. Dilan. ඩිලන් මහත්මයා අපිත් එක්ක ඉන්නවා මේ මැෂින් එකේ කොහොමද මේන්ටේනන්ස් කරන්නේ මොන වගේ ඉක්විප්මන්ට්ස් මොන වගේ පාර්ට්ස් අපි මාරු කරන්න කියලා අපි අපේ වීවර්ස්ට කියමු.
ආයිබෝන් සුබ දිනයක්. ඇත්තටම මගේ කාර්යභාරයලා තියෙන අද මේ කම්ප්‍රෙසර් එක මේක ස්ක්‍රූ කම්ප්‍රෙසර් එකක් මේකේ ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය ඔයාලට පැහැදිලි කර දෙන එකයි මගේ අද මේ සෙෂන් එකේ මගේ වගකීම. අපි ඉස්සලම් බලමු මේක මුලින්ම මේකේ බලය සපයන්නේ මෝටරයකින්. ඒතර මෝටරේ බලය සපයලා කරකවනවා මේකේ එයා හැන්ඩ් කියලා යුනිට් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක රොට්ටි දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක ප්‍රතිවිරුද්ධ දිහාවට කැරකෙනකොට මේ එයා හැන්ඩ් එකෙන් රික්තකයක් හැදෙනවා. මේ රික්තකය පුරවන්න මේ වායුගෝලයේ තියෙන බාර් එකක් වෙන ප්‍රෙෂර් එක මේ රික්තකය හරහා ඇතුළට එයා සක් කරනවා. සක් කරාට පස්සේ මේකේ අපි දාලා තියෙනවා ලුබ්‍රිකන්ට් එකක්. ඒ ලුබ්‍රිකන්ට් එකත් එක්ක ඒක මික්ස් වෙලා මේක ප්‍රෙෂරයිස් කරනවා. පීඩනයකට ලක් කරනවා. ඒ පීඩනය ලක් කරලා මෙයා ඒ ප්‍රෙෂර් එක සම්ප් එකට නිකුත් කරනවා. සම්ප් එකට නිකුත් කරලා ඒ සම්ප් එකෙන් දැන් තියෙන්නේ ලුබ්‍රිකන්ට් එකයි එයා එකයි සම්මිශ්‍රණය. මේ සම්මිශ්‍රණය මෙන්න මේ සෙපරේටර් කියන යුනිට් එක හරහා එයාගේ සෙපරේටර් කියන යුනිට් එක හරහා මේ සම්ප්‍රේෂණය අපි වෙන් කරගන්න ඕනේ. නැත්නම් අපිට හුලං ගන්න බෑ. හුලං එක ලුබ්‍රිකන්ට් කියන කූලන්ට් එක එන හින්දා. මේ සෙපරේටරින් මේක එයා එකයි ඔයිල් එකයි සෙපරේට් කරලා මේක වෙනම අපි තියෙනවා දැන් මේ වාතය තියෙන්නේ ඔයිල් එක තියෙන්නේ අදි ප්‍රශ්නයක් එක්ක. ටෙම්පරේචර් එක වැඩි තත්ත්වයක් තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට හුලං වායුව වෙනමයි ඔයිල් පාත් එක වෙනමයි මේක කූල් කරන්න මෙතන කූලරයක් දාලා තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ හුලං වෙනම කූල් වෙලා ගිහිල්ලා ඇම්බියන්ට් ටෙම්පරේචර් එකට මැච් වෙන්න එළියට දානකොට ඔයිල් ටෙම්පරේචර් එක අඩු කරගන්න ඔයිල් පාත් එකක් වෙනම තියෙනවා කූලරේ. ඒ ඔයිල් පාත් එකට ගිහිල්ලා ඒ ටෙම්පරේචර් එක අඩු කරලා නැවත ඒ කූලරේ හරහා මේ කූලන්ට් ෆිල්ටර් එකට නිකුත් කරනවා ඔයිල් ප්‍රෙෂරයිස් වෙච්ච ඔයිල්. ඒ ඔයිල් එක මේ කූලන්ට් ෆිල්ටරෙන් ෆිල්ටර් වෙලා ආයි මේ එයා එන්ඩ් එකටම ආයි වැටෙනවා. එතකොට මේක සංවෘත ක්‍රියාවලියක්. සංවෘත ක්‍රියාවලිය තුළ අපිට අවශ්‍ය කරන ඔයිල් අයින් වෙච්ච වාතය අපි එළියට ගන්නවා. මේක අපි ජලය අයින් කරනවා නම් රෙෆ්‍රිජරන්ට් ඩ්‍රයර් එකක් දාලා රිසර්ව් ටැංක් එකට අපි ෆිල් කරගෙන අපි අපේ අවශ්‍යතාව සඳහා අපි ඒක පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මේකේ ප්‍රධානම දේ මේ යන්ත්‍රයක් අපිට නිකන් දුවන්න බෑ. අනිවාර්යයෙන් මේ යන්ත්‍රයක් නියමිත කාල පරිතිය තුළ නඩත්තු සේවා කළ යුතුමයි. එතකොට මේ නඩත්තු සේවාවලදී අපි කළ යුතු මාරු කළ යුතු ෆිල්ටර් තියෙනවා, තව රිපෙයාර් කිට් තියෙනවා, සොලනොයිඩ් වැල් තියෙනවා. එතකොට මේ තියෙන්නේ එයා ෆිල්ටර් එක. මේක අපි every once a week ambient එකේ quality අනුව මේවා අපි සුද්ධ කළ යුතුයි. මේ ෆිල්ටර් අපි every 2000 hours අපි මාරු කරනවා. මේ separator මාරු කළ යුතුයි. ඒ වගේම මේ වල solenoid valve වල repairs කරන්න ඕන. මේ හැමදේම කරොත් විතරයි අපිට මේ මැෂින් එක හොඳ කාර්යක්ෂමතාවයකින් බ්‍රේක් ඩවුන් නැන්නේ නැතුව අපිට දුවගෙන කස්ටමර්ගේ පරිභෝජනය වැඩි කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මම කියන්නේ මගේ පාරිභෝගිකයන් මම ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ මේ වගේ යන්ත්‍රයක් ඔබතුමාලා ගාව තියෙනවා නම් හැමෝ ගාම නෙමෙයි පළපුරුදුලත් හොඳ දැනුමක් තියෙන අපවනේ ආයතනයක් ලවා මේ වගේ එකක් මැෂින් එකක් සර්විස් කරගන්න. ඒ වගේම ඔබලා භාවිතා කරන ස්පෙයා පාර්ට්ස් දැන් මාකට් එකේ තියෙනවා සෙකන්ඩ් හෑන්ඩ් ක්වොලිටි ඒවා භාවිතා කරන්න එපා. මැෂින් එක කාර්යක්ෂමව දුවා ගන්න ඕන නම් ඔරිජිනල් ස්පෙයා පාර්ට් යොදලා මේ මැෂින් එකක් කම්ප්‍රෙසර් එකක් සර්විස් කරගෙන ඔබගේ මැෂින් එකේ කල්පැත්මත් ප්‍රොඩක්ෂන් එකේ එෆිෂියන්සි එකත් වැඩි කරගන්න කියලා ඔබතුමාගේ මම කාරණක ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා. ඉතින් මට මේ සම්බන්ධ මට පොඩි කෙටි හැඳින්වීමක් මම කරේ. ඒකින්ද ඔබතුමාලගේ මම ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා අපාමක සෙට් වෙන්න සූද සීල සේවාවක් දෙන්න එක්ක ඔබතුමාලාගේ හැම වුණ ප්‍රශ්නයකට අපි එකට ඉන්න හැම වෙලාවෙම ඒ හින්දා බොහොම ස්තුතියි. නැවත අපි තවත් මේ වගේ ලෙසන් එකකින් හමු වෙමු.
You're live with the Gaja TV, the Big Boss talk show, and we have the chairman of TJ Enterprises, and we were discussing about the maintenance of the air compressor machine, and it was successful, and we're really thankful for coming on the show and giving your thoughts on for the young entrepreneurs to become the top hierarchies in Sri Lanka. And what do you think about like Gaja TV bringing up this sort of format into live streaming? So what do you think, like what is your opinion on that?
Well, actually it's a very good thing because it's something that has not been done before, and it's a very good thing, and I think it will be very useful to the general public.
Yeah, thank you back again. We have given the privilege to come to your place and record, and back again giving your thoughts for the young generation of Sri Lanka. So back again, we will bring you another entrepreneur with the next program, and stay tuned to with us, Gaja TV. You can stream us on YouTube and Facebook. You can log on to www.gajatv.lk to stream more about entrepreneurs, and we'll be ending the first episode of the Big Boss chart show now, and we'll be looking forward to come with a new episode with a new boss to talk about the future and to talk about the innovative experiences what they have. And till that, we'll end up the program by now. Good day to you all.